Hello guys, this is Doran's Movies, and today I'll be giving you the summary of World of Warcraft Chronicles Volume 1. As the book itself covers an immense amount of lore, this video will be in 3 parts and I will do my best to only give you the most important information. So, without further ado, let's get into the lore. The universe was created when the light and the void clashed. In this clash of colossal energy, the great dark beyond was created, also known as the physical universe, filled with stars and many different worlds. Twisting Nether was also created at this time, a plane parallel and connected to the great dark beyond and outside of the physical realm. On the boundaries of the Twisting Nether, light and void bled together, creating unstable, volatile energy. When the explosion happened, shards of light flung and created a myriad of worlds and life on those worlds that we have today. From the clouds of fractured light shards, the naaru were created, and even greater than the naaru, from inside the fiery cores of a small number of worlds across the universe, world souls were born, also known as the Titans. While the naaru had a task to safeguard all life, the Titans searched for their own kin across the universe. The first ever Titan that was born was Amantul, and through his search he found the others, creating the Pantheon. It was a very hard time for the Titans to find their own, but they constantly tried. Almost every world they went to had elemental spirits native to it, and the first thing the Titans would do would be to pacify the elementals. Then they would reshape, order the world, and seed life, hoping this would bring the world soul to maturity. Even if the worlds lacked the world souls, the Titans still vowed to protect them, creating machines and constructs that could monitor and purge the world if it were to get corrupted by evil forces. On the other side, in the Twisting Nether, the demons were born and they indulged in the highly volatile energy. Nethersteam and Pit Lords were the more intelligent races, and they would create infernals and abyssals and also enslave the lesser demons, using them as fodder. Eventually, demons managed to claw their way into the physical universe and threaten the great dark beyond. Pantheon reacted to this and they sent their strongest titan, Sargeras, to deal with them. For ages, Sargeras was successful and constantly defeated them, yet they always came back. He realized that they can respawn in the Twisting Nether, and thus he decided to imprison them on the world of Mardum. Another titan called Agramar was sent to help him, and they worked really great as a team, but eventually they split apart in order to be more effective. During this separation, Sargeras would change forever. At some point, he ran into a world that the old gods were corrupting, and the Nethersteam were also there basking in the power of the old gods. Sargeras interrogated the Nethersteam and finally learned about the so-called Void Lords. The Void Lords lived outside of the physical realm in the Void, and they were extremely powerful, yet it was next to impossible for them to materialize in the physical universe. So, the Void Lords created the old gods, and they scattered them all over the universe in an attempt to eventually find a world that has a world soul, so that they could corrupt it and use it as a weapon that would be completely unstoppable. The world Sargeras ran into was one of them, and the world titan was almost getting corrupted, so Sargeras, filled with fear and despair, split the world in two, destroying both the old gods and the unborn titan. After this, he communicated with the Pantheon and told them about what he had seen and that the Void Lords just cannot be stopped. The only way for this to be fixed was for the universe to be destroyed and recreated without this flaw in the void. The Pantheon was stunned and horrified by this, and they turned against Sargeras. He felt betrayed and stormed out, and this was the last time the Pantheon would see Sargeras as one of their own. In the meantime, Agramar continued on his task as Sargeras was gone, and eventually he ran into the world of Azeroth. Azeroth had a world soul that was so powerful that Agrimar could sense its dreams. Before he came to the world, it was ruled by chaotic elementals. Usually, when a world soul is super powerful, the elementals turn to chaos and disorder as the fifth element, the spirit, is consumed. So, at some point, the old gods plummeted to the world and they started corrupting the world soul. The old gods created Enraki, the faceless ones, and the Akir, insectoid creatures. These minions built citadels and temple cities around the bulk of the old gods. Eventually, all of the old gods united their holdings and created a black empire that would rule over the world of Azeroth. Agrimar saw this, but unlike Sargeras, he went back to the Pantheon and told them what was happening. The Pantheon agreed to help, and they prepared for war. As the Titans couldn't get into the world themselves, fearing that they would damage the world soul, they decided to create constructs that would act as the hands of the Pantheon, and these creations were known as the Titan Forged. It was a big army led by the Keepers that held the essence of each member of the Pantheon. Firstly, the Elemental Lords were defeated that were previously enslaved by the Old Gods, and then the Titan Forged focused on Y'Shaarj. He was more powerful than they anticipated, so Amantul the Titan had to interfere. He reached down and with his arm he tore Y'Shaarj from the world. This was a big mistake as Y'Shaarj was so deeply rooted into Azeroth that the blood of the world soul erupted from the wound. This wound would later be cauterized and the Well of Eternity would be created from it. Learning from this, the Pantheon imprisoned other old gods, and thus the peace came to the world of Azeroth. The Keepers created the Forge of Wills that they would place in Ulduar that would shape the sentience of the world soul, and apart from just that, it could also give shape to creatures of stone and metal, creating a new generation of Titan Forged that would serve the Keepers. In the city of Uldum in South, the Forge of Origination was created, and it was used to fortify the form of the world soul, and it also had the purpose to destroy the world if it was to get corrupted. After this, the Keepers focused on reshaping the surface of Azeroth, and they created many different creatures: Mechanomes, Mogu, Vrykul, Tolvir, sea and stone giants, and these were all creatures formed for various purposes. In the meantime, Keeper Freya crafted the Emerald Dream to regulate the nature of the world. Immense enclaves of nature were created in Angoro Crater, Sholazar Basin, and the Whale of Eternal Blossoms, where the Well of Eternity magics coalesced. From these enclaves, wild gods came to existence, and they were in a way the children of Freya. These wild gods were Malorne, Essina, Agamagan, Aviana, Ursok and Ursol, Tortola, Goldrin, Chiji, Nuzao, Shuen, and Yulon. In Hyjal, Freya bound their spirits to the Emerald Dream so that the wild gods are able to transcend the two different planes. Everything was in order, so the Pantheon bestowed the Pillars of Creation, and they also commissioned Constellar Algalon to serve as the World Guardian and warn the Titans if the world was to get corrupted by evil forces. With this finished, the Titans departed the world, leaving it forever. In the meantime, Sargeras had started his burning crusade, and the first thing he did was destroying the prison world of Mardum that he had created previously. This imbued him with so much energy that it seared his very soul and split his skin, creating him into what he is today. When Mardum was shattered, the explosion was so great that the boundary between the Grey Dark Beyond and the Twisting Nether ruptured. Sargeras then empowered the demons and created the Burning Legion, and since he knew how to truly kill demons, he offered them a choice: to serve him or to die. First world that fell prey to the Burning Legion was a world that was ordered by the Pantheon. Agrimar immediately came and they engaged in a colossal duel. Both of their swords were shattered and Agrimar barely managed to escape as Sargeras was far too powerful. The Pantheon then arrived and they pleaded Sargeras to abandon his foolish plans, and they told him about Azeroth and how it has the potential to destroy the Void Lords in time. But Sargeras, he didn't care, and when Agramar once again tried to reason with him, Sargeras nearly split him in two with his broken swords. This led to an all-out war between Sargeras and the Pantheon over the world of Nihilem, later known as the Doom World. The Pantheon, even though they were super strong, they were very weak to the fell magic Sargeras wielded, and a massive fell storm was summoned that would consume the bodies of the Pantheon and destroy them. To prevent oblivion, the Titan Norganon, in the last attempt, bent raw energies of the universe, creating a protection shroud to preserve the souls of the Pantheon. Alright, and that is all I have for this video. Now, do keep in mind that this is a very summarized lore version and that there is a lot more detail to this. Also, the next two parts will cover the rest of the book, so definitely stay in tune for that. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're not subscribed to the channel already, as it really helps out and keeps all the videos going. And thanks a lot for taking the time out of the day to watch this video, and see you next time.